Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scarish Podcast.
Woo! I really tried to woo.
I'm Robin Grace, and this is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And we're here to tell you guys some homegrown horrors.
Indeed we are. I'm a little bit sick, but my voice is really getting better. It's been 2 days. Shout out to Jaxie Babe, who just subscribed on our Twitch account. It's twitch.tv/Scarish Podcast. You can join us every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Oh my God, thank you, Meadows, for also subscribing.
Thank you, Meadows, for also subscribing. I also want to give Carly a shout out. Carly also subscribed before we went live on air. Shout out to Chessie Cat, who just subscribed. Okay, really quick rundown. Carly, 8 months. Jaxie, 4. Meadows, 7. And Chessie Cat, 7. That is awesome.
You guys
folks
are awesome.
Are amazing. Thank you for supporting us. Like Robin said, this is Storytime with the Scarish Podcast, which means we are going to read these things called homegrown horrors. Robin, what's a homegrown horror?
That was the longest intake of breath ever. Stop it. That's not good. This isn't ASMR.
These are deep breaths.
I'm not
This is ASMR with the Scarish Podcast.
Homegrown horrors are the lovely, amazing stories that you guys graciously
wow, you're just nailing this. You had to
graciously share
my
with
breath.
us. And it's stories about your supernatural, paranormal experiences, spiritual experiences, night terrors, sleepwalking, sleep paralysis, coincidental, hilarious, scary incidents.
The funniest ones are definitely when people think something really scary is happening and then they realize that they're just dumb, because we've all been there and they're always hilarious. So
yeah,
that's absolutely what it is. So we're very excited to bring you your stories, and thank you to everyone who sent them to us. We have 6 again for you this evening, and I'm pretty excited to get to those. Before we get started, folks, you know what it is? It's May 1st. The day we're recording this is May 1st. You know what that means? Winchester Mystery House tickets went on sale today. I checked it at noon, and they hadn't posted the ones for June yet, so I wasn't going to do a social media blast. Checked it again before we went live on air. They are available for purchase for Sunday, June 9th. So as soon as the show's over, we're going to go on there, make sure they can be acquired. Then we're going to let you folks know to go and do it yourselves, and we're just going to bother you a whole bunch for the next week. And probably
telling you guys to buy your tickets.
Probably the next 5 weeks, in fact. So be prepared for that. But I'm very, very excited to go.
It's in 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's May 1st. It's on June 9th. So it's in 5 weeks.
We will be seeing you guys in 5 weeks.
So book accommodations if you haven't already done so, or start making plans. But you can buy the tickets right now if you're watching this live. If you're listening to this on Friday, I'm sure they're still up there. And I'm very, very excited. So you'll probably see something on our social medias and our website, scarish.com, facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Our Twitter is @scarishpod. Instagram is @scarishpodcast. By the way, those are the ways that you can reach out to us, too, so we don't have to do that twice. Thank the Lord. I'm sure you guys didn't want to hear me do it twice anyways. So.
Well, you're going to do it at the end of the episode.
I will, anyway. But I'm pretty sure most people, when we get to the outro, just turn it off, which is...
You know, you guys shouldn't do that, because sometimes we say
stupid shit, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, but we also add, news tidbits that we should put at the beginning, but
and
we
some
put
shout-outs
at the end.
to folks every now and then, too.
So.
And speaking of shout-outs, it's May 1st, so it's the beginning of a new month, so shout-out to Bernadette.
Bernadette for being an awesome... spooky friend.
I was like,
crazy. Also,
does she have some title I don't know about?
We do have a shout out tier on Patreon. If you guys go check that out. Bernadette's been a Patreon subscriber for quite a few months now.
We just call them patrons, but yeah, she's been on there for a long time. Yeah. So shout out.
Thank you so much.
And anyone who's been thinking about signing up, it's $1 to get in. You get early access to everything. I spend $1.25 on a Snickers bar. So I'm just saying, let us be your Snickers bar. We taste way sweeter and we're a lot cheaper.
I don't
know if that's a good thing,
yeah,
but whatever.
I was going to say, I don't want you to know how I taste.
Wow, this is getting weird. Okay. Speaking of weird, I'm going to go into my first homegrown horror of the evening and make this a little bit less awkward. So this first one, its subject is can read on podcast, which is a good place to put that, because then we know. And it starts out like this. Hello, Adam and Robin.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Scarlett, pronouns she and her. Thank you for that. I've been listening to the podcast for a couple months now, and I really enjoy listening to it. You're both funny and relatable.
Oh, thank you. Side note, I just appreciate when you guys say that we're relatable, because this is literally how we are in real life. Maybe a little bit more awkward in real life, but how we talk, we're not acting or anything. This is just, we're this annoyingly.
This is us. It's just like that show. This is us.
Wow. No, you don't want to be like that
Some of you, yeah, you don't. Some of you have gotten to meet us because you came out to stuff like Level Up Expo, which just went by, where Robin did a really good job Super
Oh,
proud of you.
thanks.
You had amazing products, and I know you met Justin, who
Yeah,
I know.
which was so cool.
So shout out to Justin
and
for
his
stopping
lovely
by.
Hubby. It was great. You guys are so nice.
Justin and hubby. It was super cool. And when we have events, and we'll let you know when we're going to be out and about, you folks can come meet us. Something like, I don't know, Winchester Mystery House, which I'm super excited for. I'm going to get back to this email, though.
Okay.
We're apparently funny and relatable, and we appreciate that. It goes on to say, I'm sorry if this email is shitty. I'm sure it won't be. I wrote it on my phone. I mean, you can do that for convenience sake. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my story. It was, what?
The cadence of your reading is really weird today.
It's because my nose is still a little stuffed and I'm trying to breathe and it's all like wonky because I'm not used to it. So, I was in school when I learned about a dark side of me. My friends at the time were talking about the past and something else came up. They told me that in the past they were scared of me. They told me about things I supposedly did, causing harm to them, but I can't recall anything. Punching them so hard they would bleed. Pushing them downstairs, hitting them with objects. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was confused. They weren't the only ones. I thought that it could just be sick people, like a sick person prank that they were playing since we were just kids, but they weren't lying. I was so fucking scared because I don't know if something like this happened again or will happen again. This thing I can't control or understand or remember can cause trouble. Not just a grounding. That's hilarious. It goes on to say, and it's so weird that I can't remember anything, but what can you do? I kind of blame myself for being distant from other students. I thought that they didn't like me. Guess it was another reason that I just didn't know about. Because I had friends that weren't my actual friends. So I don't know. Maybe it's not over yet. So I'm just going to speculate really fast that maybe something's actually not happening and they just decided to make some shit up and make you feel bad. But who knows? I didn't really care about them that much, but I wouldn't hurt them. Plus, I can't have something like that on my record, so I wouldn't do anything even if I was fucking pissed. I hope that I'll be able to find out what was happening. My mind just felt bad and pushed those memories away, so who knows? I'm sorry if I got a little morbid there. Hopefully I'll be able to get rid of whatever caused that. Your podcast brings me so much joy. I hope you have a lovely day, Adam and Robin.
Aww,
thank you very much. Well, here's two things. One, if it was a prank, that's super shitty, and I kind of hope that's what it was. If it's not a prank and you eventually remember that you did some of these things, that's repression. That's not a great thing, but I mean, it's nothing to be super scared of. It's just something that you should probably talk to someone about.
Yeah, and it just means you don't want to be that person anymore, and you've pushed that down and don't want to remember that you were a crappy person at one point.
Yeah, and I think it's not a common thing, but it's not as uncommon as I think most people think it is.
Yeah.
And it's there's ways to deal with it. So don't be afraid. I know it's really jarring when people say you did this. Honestly, that's the reason why I don't drink that much anymore, because I've had moments when I used to drink where like I would get super wild and crazy. Instead of being like fun party Adam, it was like flip table Adam. And I don't want to be that kind of Adam. And I think people who have drank before understand like a night where you might black out and someone tells you the next day like, oh, you puked black. It looked like your soul and you tried to murder someone. And you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. So it happens, and I'm just saying that don't feel too bad. Don't make that face. Just because you were sheltered doesn't mean that I'm alone here. Just saying.
I've never drank so much that I blacked out, or I've never drank so much where I got violent. So I've thrown up.
You drank so much that you puked a ton. Yeah, I was there for that one.
Yeah.
Hashtag my birthday. Just saying.
Yeah.
So it happens, and I'm just letting you know you're not alone and don't feel bad. So thank you for sending that in, though. We appreciate
thank you so
it.
much. I'm going to get into this next email here, and this one begins. Hi, friends.
Hello.
Hi, friend. It's me again, the twerkaholic from Cabo.
I remember that story. You can't forget the twerkaholic.
They should make like a dance studio and call it the twerkaholic and have classes that teach you how to twerk. I finally caught up with the podcast and heard my story. Thanks for making my story sound 100% cooler. Wait, 100 times cooler. I can barely read. Than it was, and hashtag whole life is the best life. Okay.
Did you just say whole life is the best life? Because all I heard was you laughing.
It says hashtag whole life is the best life.
Okay, thank you.
Just
we
kidding.
don't hoe shame. So
No.
you do you, and you do whoever else you want to do
but
too, apparently.
It's just funny. Anyway, it continues. Just kidding. Not really, JK. But I do have more scary stories that happened to me a while back with a group of friends, but I'll just share one today. So my friend S has the third eye. So pretty much she can see/talk to spirits.
So she's the three-eyed raven is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I don't normally do this.
She's Akko Taco like Bran.
I'm going to go ahead and break into a live story for chat because I looked over and Anna has said they only lead twerk-out classes at the Twerkaholic. Like workout, but twerk-out. That's a pun. Good work, Anna. Shout out to you. You made it in the actual episode. I'm just saying that was good. Okay, I won't interrupt you anymore.
Okay. Growing up, her father told her that she has two spirits that'll follow her and that they can communicate with her father. Whoa, my voice started getting weird. Look what you did to me.
You did this to me. I got this from her. Everyone that watches or listens knows she was sick first.
So one dumb night, we all decided to go to the park at night and, I don't know, fuck around or whatever. That's how it's spelled. Oh, whatever. Oh, whatever.
Got it.
I was standing next to S, who is very quiet, and because she knows that I can sense things as well, bends down and whispers to me, "Let's go home. I don't want to be here."
Oh, shit. This just got real.
My short ass looks up at her, scared. What do you mean? She looks over to where our guy friends were on the swings and looks back at me and whispers louder that she wants to go. So being the mom of the group, I gather everyone around us and was telling them, "Let's go." Our guy friends were trying to play it cool, but then S nudges me and whispers to me again, "Look." And she points at the swing. Shit you not, the swings were moving. My guy friends started to freak out as they said that they were for sure had stopped the swings before coming to us. Next thing you know, S dipped out on us, and we all ended.
She's like, "I warned you fuckers enough. I am out."
And we all ended up running back to our cars. But tell me why S screams out to our homeboy to keep running, and no matter what he does, do not look back. Oh my gosh! So she's just like, "Dude, don't stop. Don't look back. There's something behind you."
I don't know why, but if someone were to yell that at me, the first thing that jumps to mind is there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex behind me.
Oh my God.
And I need to keep going.
You'd feel it, though.
You would feel it. You know how you can tell? Watch Jurassic Park. The impact hemorrhage on the ground, and you can see it ripple through the water. Just saying. Like, you know if there's a T-Rex behind you.
I tried to look up a gift today for Jurassic Park, and I typed in "clever girl," and it came up with Jenna Louise Coleman in Doctor Who.
That's funny because she's
so
a
I was
clever
like,
girl.
Dang it!
I tried
I'll
to
use
look
this
up,
one instead.
This isn't a joke. This is how aligned we are on things a lot. I tried to look up a Jurassic Park gift today, and I couldn't find it no matter what I did. And I typed in Jurassic Park - you crazy son of a bitch, you did it. Because I really just wanted that Jeff Goldblum shaking his head where it has the line underneath, and I couldn't find it anywhere, and my break is only so long. So, yeah, one of my breaks at work today was a total failure. But, yeah.
Oh, so you didn't find any cool ones?
No. I mean, I found some,
right.
but nothing that was going to say what I wanted it to. So.
Oh, okay. His dumbass turns around and ran for his life. We barely got into our cars and drove off. S's phone started to ring, and she picks it up. It was her dad. How did he know? Because of the spirits that follow her, told her dad about what happened. That's creepy.
Well, what was it? Do we know?
Well, I don't know. Let's find out. He was furious and told her to tell all of us to go to her house. We drove to her house and crammed into her room. There were like 9 of us. And S starts to place her hand on our heads and told us that it would be best if we stayed with her and her family for the night. So all 9 of us slept over on a Monday night, scared and crammed. We all woke up and continued our day like normal, but
and our organs were gone. We were in bathtubs. I always thought S's 9 bathtubs was weird. Sorry, my head's in a weird place.
But to this day, our homeboy refuses to tell us what he saw when he turned around. Thanks for reading my story. I have plenty more and shall share when I have free time and not scared. LOL. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. I'm very curious as to know what homeboy saw. So
yeah.
Tell him to hit us up, and I will talk him into telling us what it was. Because I need to know. Was it a Jurassic Park? Was it a Jurassic Park?
I mean,
was it a T-Rex? Was it Jeff Goldblum? We will never know.
Did the dad know? Like, did the spirits tell the dad, like, this is what was there? You know what I mean? Or were they just like, oh, shit went down, kids got scared, just
maybe you got a bad
now.
feeling? Were there security cameras involved? There's a lot of questions we have here that we won't be able to answer. But
yeah.
The homeboy out there knows what he saw. And it could be nothing. He could just be like, I was really scared and I didn't want to admit I was scared. But we'll never know. So good stuff. Thank you for sending that in. And send us all your stories. We want every single one of them. And those of the people you know as well. So steal their information and pass it off as your own. Or just give them credit in your email. That works too. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my second email of the show, and this one...
We have 6 tonight, too, so stick around. We have 6.
In fact, I mentioned that earlier.
Did you?
I did.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure.
I don't remember this.
I did.
All right.
The subject for this one is I really should have known better, which is a pretty good subject. It sounds like we're going to get into a cautionary tale. And it starts out like this. Hiya, Adam and Robin.
Hiya.
Hiya. This just happened, and I'm feeling scared-ish and decided to share it while it was still fresh. So my daughter and I are visiting her father in Florida currently. Florida, first step. Just saying. Place is crazy.
I want to go, though. Disney World and Universal. They're down there. We have to go to Hogwarts.
We do.
Have to go to Hogwarts
We have our wands and everything, so we're ready. He stays in the Waterford Chase area, which is notable due to its exclusivity.
Waterford, is that the place that makes those really nice glass ornaments?
Sure. I'll just say yes, because I have no idea what you're talking about. Neighborhood Watch is still alive and well out here, and compared to where me and husband grew up, this area has that, quote, no worries kind of feel. Enter creepy truck guy. So normally my husband shares his house with 3 other male roommates, so the place stays pretty tidy. It's shocking that there's 4 men living in a house and it stays pretty tidy. I come to visit with our cyclone of a daughter and find myself cleaning a bunch. Anywho, in the middle of cleaning, my daughter decides she wants to go outside. I open the sliding door and she goes out into the little patio area while I'm out in my chair. I imagine once you're done cleaning up after your kid over and over and over on the inside of your house, they're like, I want to go outside. You're like, please do, you little monster. So it goes on to say, I then remember my phone and go back inside to find it, leaving the door open. Now, there's a mini football field behind the house, but you can see road traffic coming and going because it's a corner lot. So I don't worry about my daughter running off because she knows it would be the beating of her life and I'd be able to catch her before she got to the road. So I don't trip about walking away from her when she is busying herself. Or at least I didn't before this. Oh
gosh.
Shit.
I'm just imagining a Pet Cemetery type thing.
Oh, God. Jesus. Your hair goes really bad places. Sometimes dead is better, though. Just saying. Okay. As I walked...
No. You got to say it.
Sometimes dead's better. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Okay. As I walked back outside, I noticed a creepy gray Mitsubishi Mighty Max, in parentheses, my grandmother owned one when I was a kid, so I'd know them anywhere, parked on the grass, pointed our way. No big, right? Could be a landscape dude on break. No, as soon as the driver sees me, they turn and book it back to the road, almost causing an accident. Paradise lost. It's a really good way to end that. Love you guys. Keep on creeping on, Brittany. That is super effing creepy. Like driving straight through grass at where you, and more importantly, your daughter was outside alone. Yeah, that is a paradise lost moment. Holy shit. That's like a whole new world of scary stories.
Why is it Paradise Lost?
Because they had this area where they thought nothing bad could happen. And then your world is shattered by realizing not only could something bad happen, but something bad was about to happen. So it's just, that's a whole nother area of scary stuff that we've never gotten into. I remember listening to someone talk about the fact that, like, they were almost kidnapped when they were a kid, and they didn't realize it until they got older, where it's like, oh, yeah, like, some dude tried to lure me into his van, and when I told my parents, they freaked out, and I didn't realize until older, like, some guy was driving around picking up kids. It was from back home. I don't remember who it was, but what I remember about it is they told me that story, and later on I looked up a death because I was going to My Favorite Murder, and I was like, I remember some little girl dying when I was a kid, and I realized that some dude was abducting kids and killing them, and it was probably the exact same time whoever this person was, whether it was an acquaintance or a friend that I talked to, almost got abducted. And it's so weird to think, like, how many times you might have brushed that. That's a lot of scary stuff that we don't really touch on. So I'm sure when we start, like, leaning back into true crime a little bit here, we're going to get to some of that scary stuff, and then maybe some of those emails will come in. But
the true crime stuff, sometimes I need to take a break from, because then I get way too paranoid, and then I but I start remembering things from when I was a kid, and then it starts freaking me out. And being a kid, you're like carefree, and then you realize, like, oh man, I shouldn't have been so carefree. Yeah, you're
oblivious as shit, and then you realize later, like, wow, like, my parents somehow kept me alive. Like, good on them. Like, thank you, Mom and Dad. I don't know how you pulled that off.
When I hear the term latchkey kid, I'm always just like, I'm really glad that I wasn't one of those.
I was one of those. I had a key to my house at a very young age. Because my parents both worked. My mom wouldn't get home until like 5. She got off at 4:30, and my dad worked like 8 to 12 hours.
I grew up in the middle of nowhere, so from school to home was like 35 minutes, 45 minutes, and the bus didn't go out there.
My bus ride was like 35, 40 minutes, but the bus did service all the kids. That sounds weird, but the bus did service all the kids.
No, I'm not even going to make a joke.
Don't even picture it. Don't even try.
Okay, so
it's an anthropomorphic bus that's also a fucking child molester.
Yeah.
But yes, I was like the second to last stop is what I'm trying to say. So I'd get off the bus, go up to my door, unlock it, go inside, lock it, and then watch some form of animated cartoons. Whether it was X-Men or Spider-Man or Batman, but I fucking love every single one of those series. Just saying.
Hold on.
Jesus Christ.
Where
dude.
I lived, pizza places wouldn't even deliver. They're just like, you're way too far. No, that
Same
didn't
here.
happen.
I lived in rural Indiana, so anything that would deliver, like until I moved to the city, nothing delivered. Then when I moved to the city, I'm like, holy shit, like Jimmy John's delivers, and it's like they're known.
Jimmy John's delivers.
They're known for delivering fast.
I want
You didn't
Jimmy
know that?
John's.
I was like, I didn't know that, and I was ordering Jimmy John's all the effing time. So.
The title of this next email is called A Funny Story About My Mama.
Cool. If this is just strictly a comedy email, I'll actually be pretty happy.
There's a lot of hearts, like big, gigantic hearts that I can see, like just looking. Like the emotes are gigantic. And I don't know if that's an editing thing that made it so huge, but they're huge. Hello to my favorite voices. Oh, that's so sweet.
I'm going to say hello, assuming you meant me also. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, voices, plural.
Oh, yeah, that's true. My voice sounds like garbage right now, though.
I haven't watched any of your videos, so you're not my favorite faces yet. Watch it. Get on it. Because
YouTube.com/scaryish, twitch.tv/scaryish podcast.
Yeah. Okay, so this is pretty silly and a little weird, and I think y'all will love it. My mom started working at this cafe when she was 16-ish and worked there for 40 years. Dang, that's dedication.
That is dedication. Shout out to your mom.
I have 5 siblings, and we have all worked there as well. That's pretty cool, keeping it in the family. I even bought it at one point. Oh, that's amazing.
That is
amazing. So
amazing.
We could keep working there and seeing our customers who we considered family. Sadly, I could only keep it running for a year or two before I had to sell. Anyway, we're in a very small town, and that cafe was basically my second home. So no surprise that since we all basically grew up in that place, we all formed bonds with the old farmers and their wives who came by for coffee every day. We learned so much from these men and women. It was like having 70 sets of grandparents. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Which was awesome. On your birthday when everyone was handing out shiny gold dollars. But there was also the downside to having friends in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. They are old.
Can you pause really fast and let me know who this is from again?
Sorry, hold on. Alicia.
Alicia's watching right now on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
She said that we weren't her favorite faces yet because she hasn't seen us yet. She's watching right now. We just told you should watch us while we're reading your story. She's here right now.
Is that the right Alicia?
Yeah, it says, I'm watching tonight.
Cute.
Heart. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh my God, we're reading your story. It's so exciting.
Getting close to the end of their time. My family has lost a lot of grands over the years. One man sits heavy on my mind all the time. We called him Smitty, and he was so sweet. I met him when I was 10, and he was in his early 80s. I was sitting at the soda bar having my afternoon snack, that's adorable, and trying to do homework, and he leaned over my shoulder and just started helping me, which became our routine. That's so cute.
That is super cute. I want to just interject because I do that, but I want to just interject and say, like, I know we just talked about how creepy it is when, like, Paradise Lost scenarios where you think you're going to get kidnapped. I think a lot about the fact that I had adult friends growing up. Like, there's a guy that lived next to us named Frank who used to hang out with me and my brother, which is kind of like, I realized a way to, like, get us out of our parents' house, but, like, he was incredibly sweet and he taught us to, like, be very nice to strangers. And there was a guy that lived near me when I was growing up in a different location who I used to go play Chinese checkers with, and he was a super nice old man. His name was Mr. Paul. And like, I was 7 years old, and like, it's weird. You think it's kind of weird for like old people or older people, and now I'm probably the age that Frank was when he started hanging out with me to like spend time with little kids. But they're also very formative, and you shouldn't like be wary of that all the time. Like, it's a good thing to be aware, but like, I don't know, like, I have great memories thinking about stuff like that. So it's super cool that you had this guy that like leaned over and started helping you. Like, that immediately made me think of those two people in my life.
He was close with my mother as well, and all of my other siblings, who ranged from 21 to 3 years old at the time. And his family was not interested in him or his old man ways. Oh, that's
so
stupid.
sad.
So he was a pretty lonely guy. We just loved this man. He came to dance recitals and band shows and ball games. Everything he was invited to, he came. And one Sunday when Mom was cooking dinner, which is an important side note, where we are Southern, so Mom always has gravy of some kind with our dinner, the phone rang and my mom answered. It was Smitty, and he had called to tell her to come to dinner with him. She politely declined because there were at least 4 kids home with her, and she was cooking dinner. He responded with, quote, "I invited the whole family, young lady, and you always scorch the gravy anyway," end
Wow,
quote.
that's hilarious.
Sure enough, because she had stepped away from the stove, the gravy scorched and was ruined, and so she trashed the rest of dinner, and we went out for our first Sunday family dinner with Smitty, who let us kids order anything off the menu we wanted and reserved the restaurant's party room for just us so the kids wouldn't have to sit still all the time. This man was my favorite grand. He would call every Sunday and tell my mama that she burnt the gravy and that we needed to meet him at the restaurant, inevitably.
That's so funny.
Sorry, new sentence. Inevitably, age caught up with him and he passed away. That's a much sadder sentence.
That's so sad.
That is super, super sad. I don't know how to read. We were sad, but knew he was at peace. We did the funeral thing and said our goodbyes. The Sunday following his funeral, Mom was in the kitchen cooking, and we were all watching TV in the living room, kind of just realizing that this is the first Sunday that we will be having family dinner without him. And then the phone rang, just like it normally did. I swear on everything, y'all. Mama dropped her spoon and turned around with a dead serious look on her face and said, quote, "No one touch that fucking thing. We've already said goodbye," end quote. Oh my God, I got chills.
I got chills too. I got chills all over that. Like, oh my God.
Are they multiplying?
Yes. I'm losing control.
Do you think you like it?
What?
Oh, I don't know.
You shifted songs. That got weird.
And then it stopped ringing. I'm in my 30s now, so we didn't have caller ID, but Mama just knew it was something, and she noped right the fuck out of it. Okay, that's all. Feel free to share, and I 1000% love how wonderful you two are and encouraging and caring of your fans. Keep on creeping. Thank you so much, Alicia. That's such a good story.
That's an excellent story.
And it's so great that you got to have these people in your life.
I think it's such a good email because like I haven't thought of like Mr. Paul or our neighbor Frank in such a long time. I remember this, my neighbor Frank, when he was teaching me, like I asked my neighbor Frank why he flipped me off because we were driving to my house in his car because it was raining and he didn't want me to walk home. And he was like changing the radio station with his middle finger and he's like, "Oh, if you're using it for something, you can do stuff like that," which gave me an excuse to use my middle finger on stuff to flip my brother off for like the next 6 months. So it's a really cool story. I really like it. It's like the idea of found family is so important because some people feel like they're just ignored or unnecessary or discarded. You know what I mean? And that's not their fault. It's someone else's fault who have a deficiency as a person to not love someone who loves you. And sometimes you just don't. Like sometimes people have that disconnect with family members, and it's always nice to hear stories of like finding family in like the least likely of places.
My best friend growing up, where she lived, they had a neighbor who was a much older Japanese man, and he lived by himself. His name was Kit, and when I was in elementary school and middle school, he was there. And I think he died when we got to high school, but he would always like give us all these fruits and stuff like that, and just be the nicest person, invite us over to check out like his whole setup that he had because he gardened a lot and stuff like that. And I think in middle school we did an interview with him for a report, or maybe it was high school, I don't remember, but we interviewed him because he was alive during World War II.
Yeah.
And so it was crazy, this interview that we had with him. I wish I kept all my documents from when I was a little kid, but it was crazy. He was really nice. And sometimes those elderly neighbors or people that you see every day don't have family all the time.
There's a really good episode of Seinfeld, and I know you've never seen the show, but essentially they all decide that they're going to give something back to the community, and they all start volunteering at different places. And Elaine decides she's going to volunteer at an old folks home, and you just sit with an elderly person and talk to them. And the elderly person she sits to talk with has a very large goiter on her neck, which looks like another head. And she says like she wants to talk to her, but she can't stop like trying to avoid eye contact and all this other stuff. And then at the end of the episode, they're like trying to talk, and she says like, "Why don't you talk to me?" And she tells her something like risque, something like raunchy, like, "I'm having problems with my boyfriend because of this sex thing." And the old lady like recommends something, and she's like, "That's a really good idea." And she's like, "I once had an affair with Gandhi." And she's like, she looks directly at the camera because the camera is supposed to be the old lady. She's like,
Yeah.
"What?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah." And then she starts talking about this affair she had with Gandhi. She's like, "He used to rub his bald head in oil and rub it all over my body."
That's
And then Elaine
gross.
can't stop looking at this lady because she's telling her all this stuff. It's like, the shit your parents and grandparents and elderly people can tell you is so valuable, and they probably have stories that'll blow your mind or make you laugh your ass off. Like, there's just this whole, however old you think you are, imagine how much more shit you're going to go through between now and however old that person is that you could talk to, and then think like, am I going to be interesting to talk to at that age? They probably are too. Hashtag just saying. So, right on. So I'll move into my last one of the show, and this one's subject is my sleep paralysis experience, and I will say this one is kind of long, so hopefully my voice doesn't go between now and the end of it, but it starts out like this. Hi, Adam and Robin. Hello.
Hello.
My name is Kayla, and I first found your podcast on Spotify. Shout out to Spotify. Binged it, and have been a long-time listener ever since. First, yes, you can read this story on the pod. More importantly, I love what you guys do and the Scarish community built around this incredible podcast.
I love everyone.
You guys are fantastic.
Yeah, like seriously, we could not ask for more supportive people. It's just so cool.
We really couldn't. Here's the thing. The people we have, we couldn't ask them to be more supportive. I would ask for more of those people because you guys are amazing, and I hope there's so many more of you out there that we can all just keep bringing more people in. Because it's really nice to have something that exists that is actually a community where it's not toxic. And like, we're very dedicated to keeping that, especially Robin. She's like Banhammer 101. She's like, if you mess around, like, you get the Banhammer. So I don't know. It's just super cool. Continuing on this email. I appreciate the new changes as far as with story times only being read on the Storytime episodes, because for me, the bread and butter are the topic episodes.
Oh,
Some people feel like that. Some people feel it's the story episodes. I wish I had a money tree dubbed just for this podcast so I could support you more in what you do. But since I'm nowhere near a millionaire status, I will continue to give what I can via Patreon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We seriously could not do it without all of our patrons that we have. Even if it's just $1 or $3, it does help.
It helps a lot.
Seriously, while Adam was unemployed, it helped us out a lot.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah, it was really helpful.
And then it continues to say, you guys are my Starbucks coffee.
Aw,
so nice.
Thank you.
We're
yeah,
glad.
Considering Starbucks coffees now, a venti costs $6.
It's a lot.
It's insane.
That being said, if I ever win the lotto TV show, I'll produce. Yeah, we're down with that. I like that. Anyway, I was funny today because I was literally like getting coffee ready for this. And I was like, I want to be Unsolved Mysteries, but sometimes I feel like I'm hosting World of the Psychic, which is the show that Peter Venkman hosts at the beginning of Ghostbusters 2. And he's like, where do you find these people? Like, why can't we get anyone good? And someone's like, no respected psychic will come on the show. Everyone thinks you're a fraud. And he goes, I am a fraud. And I'm like, I'm not a fraud. I don't want to be a fraud. I was like, give myself this pep talk of like, be Unsolved Mysteries. Like, don't be a fraud. Anyways. And it literally says anyway as the next word. I was amongst the crowd of listeners who, quote, meant to write in, but never got around to it until now, clearly. And I hope you enjoy the story, so here goes. For as long as I remember, I've always had odd experiences related to sleep and dreams. These experiences range from recurring dreams of being abducted by monsters, who I later in life realized were versions of my, quote, imaginary friends. And in parentheses it says, and before you freak out, they were nice monsters like the ones from Where the Wild Things Are. It's a good distinction to make.
Yeah.
To not so nice experiences with nightmares that could probably give Stephen King a run for his money. If he had those, he'd write books about them, because if Stephen King has one bad experience, he writes a book about it.
Yeah, but the what is that? The Shining, his dream wasn't even scary.
Yeah, he said he had a creepy dream in a room, and that's how he wrote The Shining.
A fire hose chased his kid around. That was the dream.
It's so funny.
It just...
What's great is, I was about to say anyway, and the next line in the email is, anyway, the story that sticks out above the rest is my earliest experience with sleep paralysis. Ouch. That was something jewelry on your hand just smashing into the table. With sleep paralysis, which happened when I was around 6 years old. It's become my go-to story when exchanging real-life paranormal stories with friends, mostly because it left a big impression on me and because it resurfaced much later in life. We'll get into that later. Oh, shit. There's a callback. Is this a long one? Yeah, it's a long one. I warned at the beginning. I feel I must explain the layout of my childhood room so that everyone will have a better idea of the setup in which this story plays out. This is really, really well written. My childhood home was originally a 2-bedroom house. However, we were a family of 5, including my parents, brother, sister, and yours truly. This house was originally my uncle's, but he had sold it to my parents so we could move over to Florida from Puerto Rico. Shout out to Puerto Rico.
Oh, nice.
So that my older
like
sister, it's like my grandfather and my parents. Not my parents, my dad and his siblings. Anyways, so that my older sister could get the speech therapy she needed as a child.
That's great.
It was the late 80s, so that type of service was not available on the island. Side note, I was just under a year old coming over, so Adam, I 100% sympathize with being a Puerto Rican who does not speak fluent Spanish as well. In parentheses, try as my parents did to get me to speak it. Yeah, my parents were just like, or at least my dad for sure was like, yeah, I'm not going to teach this to you. I was like, why?
Well, I know when I was growing up, I don't think my mom started trying to force me to learn Vietnamese until I was maybe 7 or something. I was a lot older already, so I was at the point where I was like, I don't want to sit around and have you like try and force me to learn this thing. I think I remember the first word my mom tried to teach me was knife.
Wow.
So I was like, I'm not getting it. I mean, I can now and I can understand it now, but it's just like them trying to force you to learn. It's hard. It's very hard when you already speak English to have them try to teach you and get this other language.
That's another reason my father was super nervous, because growing up he learned Spanish, and then my grandparents taught him English because they wanted him to be educated and to not get shit basically for where he grew up. And so he would go to school and he stuttered because it was his second language and he was struggling with it. And then as he got better with English, he slowly started to forget Spanish, and he had to be retaught Spanish. And he's still not very confident in his Spanish speaking. He can carry on conversations very well, but is just one of those things where it's like he struggled through that. And so he was like, I'm not going to teach it to you. Like, you don't need it. You're growing up in Northwest Indiana, in Podunk, Indiana. Your last name is Diaz. You're going to have to deal with enough. So I still wish he would have taught it to me. Being bilingual is so very important, or at least multilingual. Don't limit yourself to 2. Anyways. And it literally says, anyways, my parents, being the type of people they are, in
it's like they know us,
right? They work with what they're given. Instead of looking for a bigger home, they decided to close off the garage and convert it into 2 bedrooms, adding the extra needed rooms to the house. That's very smart.
That's super smart.
The renovation included building an exterior wall where the garage door used to be and installing a big window in the middle of that wall. This side was to become my room. Then the area was divided into 2 rooms by installing a back-to-back closet. I feel like a haunting's
going to happen in there.
All right, a back-to-back closet in the middle of the space. I've seen those back-to-back closets where like you could actually worm your way into the other person's room. It's like sliding, like imagine sliding doors, but on the other side, like there's sliding doors. They don't exactly line up. Like it's a really wide closet, at least it was in the scenario I'm talking about, where like half the closet's dedicated to one room, half the closet's dedicated to another room, but it acts as like a barrier between the rooms. So you don't have to do like a full wall, and it adds like functional closet space.
All right.
This has been my TED Talk. You're welcome, Property Brothers. So I don't know what either of those words mean. So and both of those expressions don't make any sense. I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
The area was divided into the rooms, blah, 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 blah. The structure only came out to about 3/4 the width of the room, leaving a small hallway in the middle to go back and forth from room to room. So yes, I would have to walk through my sister's room to leave my room. It was odd, but my sister and I always got along just fine, so it worked out for us. That's a good thing. There's a lot of siblings who that wouldn't work out for, namely myself and my brother. Outside of my room's side window, next to the house, was an exterior water pump that sounded like a loud generator. To be honest, thinking back, I'm not quite sure what its purpose was, but I'll just call it the water heater for the sake of the story. Because my room was the one closest to the water pump, I had grown accustomed to the sound of it cranking up for about a minute or so, then stopping. It became my quote-unquote white noise, as I expected it to happen a few times a night. So I think you can get used to a lot of stuff. I lived right by train tracks at one point.
Yeah, I lived, like my house was right where the highway was. So you just heard cars constantly.
And it just becomes like the background noise of your life.
Right.
Yeah, I had train tracks right by me, and if like a big freight train was just barreling through, it would shake my house. And at some point I was just like, I'm just going to lean into this and act like it's like a vibrating feature on my couch or chair or bed or whatever I was sitting on at the time. I want to
sneeze.
I know, I'm watching you like fight it off, and it's hilarious. This
Okay.
is so funny. I hope you folks over there are betting for when she's going to sneeze. So, one night, as I was drifting off to sleep, the moonlight from the large window lit up the room so that I could see everything dimly lit. I had just rolled over to my side as I heard the water pump outside start up. I sleepily opened my eyes as if on cue. This apparition appeared to crawl out from behind my nightstand. The sound of the generator stopped, and I froze, completely paralyzed, but unsure what I was looking at. It was a dark figure, very tall, which appeared to take the form of the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, no
Just
thanks.
challenge him to a game of Twister. You will be fine.
What?
It's from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
never
You really
seen
need
it.
to see the Bill and Ted's. It has Kukanu Reeves in it, for God's sake. It's
Yeah, I
amazing.
know.
They're making a third one. The
We
figure.
just gotta hurry up and do all these episodes for this podcast.
Now
man.
that the whole like con is done and we can actually dedicate some
Yeah.
of our free time to something else, that podcast is going up. I'm not giving any dates, not saying anything else. It's just gonna go up and I'll be like, it's up, bitches. Go rate it and review it. Okay. The figure had on a black hooded cloak. It had skeletal hands with long bony fingers grasping at a sickle. This definitely sounds like
Yeah.
the Grim Reaper. This thing, whatever it was, began to circle my bed. It didn't walk. It was more like a floating glide. Just the man with the top hat, just like the man with the top hat from Haunting of Hill House. In parentheses, imagine adult me watching that scene. Can you say triggered?
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that character is one of the scarier characters. It's
Yeah.
like a big slender man looking dude.
Yeah. I couldn't move. In my 6-year-old mind, all I could think was the blanket on top of me would somehow protect me, which we always say is clearly a shield between light and darkness. I closed my eyes and repeated to myself, it's not real. It's not real. For God knows how long. Eventually, though, I didn't see it leave. I felt its presence lift and tested my fingers and found I could move again. So I
That's
mustered
scary.
up enough courage to pull the blanket over my head and held my breath to still my beating heart. Just then, the thing re-entered
No, shut up.
re-entered my side of the room and began to circle my bed once more. And they're not in sleep paralysis anymore.
Oh no. No. That's like that your nightmare has become like real life.
Right? It reappeared gliding down the hall from the direction of my sister's room. I peered through my blanket. In parentheses, it was an old-fashioned knitted blanket with a lot of tiny holes. Which
No,
always,
that's horrifying.
That's just, I mean, pretty sure that's not a solid shield.
That's not a shield.
Also, they're really bad blankets. Like, it just lets in the cold. And I saw the figure stop, crouch over me, and point its bony finger at my forehead.
Shut up.
And I shit you not, I remember the feeling of the tip of its finger scratch my forehead as if it was marking me. Just then, the sound of the generator outside started back up, and it just disappeared. Gone. That generator is the best watchdog you ever had growing up.
Yeah, no.
That's so creepy.
I'm just imagining that Michael J. Fox movie where they...
The Frighteners.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, too, where he numbers things after he kills it.
Yeah.
Though. And he dresses up like the Grim Reaper in that, too. So, good stuff. I didn't get much sleep that night, and from what I can remember, I stayed under that blanket too afraid to move. The next morning, I chalked it up to a nightmare.
I thought you chucked out that blanket because
Right?
it didn't protect you enough.
I could see through it. I hate this fucking blanket. I decided not to tell anyone, lest I be called crazy or told I was making it up. Especially being the youngest of my family, who would believe me? Well, it wasn't until many years later, when I was around 18 years old, when we went on a family road trip, that this story resurfaced in my life. This is going to get creepy. I already know it. My mother was talking about scary experiences she had growing up in Puerto Rico, and she was talking about a very vivid nightmare she had when she was a child.
It's going to be the same thing.
I then opened up about this experience, and that, my friends, is when my older sister chimed in saying she had the exact same experience,
'Cause
saw
it came from her
the
room.
exact same figure on the exact same night. I am covered in cold chills, and I'm not wearing pants. I was about 6. She must have been around 10 years old at the time. She also decided never to tell anyone about it lest she be called crazy. And side note, I don't think she was doing it just to get attention, in parentheses, as sisters sometimes do, because as I said, the figure had gone to her side of the room at some point during that encounter. She puts in, of the third kind, haha. Of course, my mom was shocked that neither of us had ever said anything to her. She's a very religious person from a Catholic upbringing, and since she's experienced her fair share of the paranormal, she advised us if anything of the sort happened again to lean on our faith to get us through it. I've gone on to have a few other sleep paralysis experiences, though they're very infrequent now and none as remarkable as that one.
That's good.
Sometimes I wonder about what it was, or if maybe it marked me as a child for some cool reason. Like if I was supposed to grow up to be a badass demon slayer or something, but I'm 32-year-old with kids of my own now, so I'm pretty sure that time is long past. Well, thank you for reading my story. I hope it wasn't too long and that you enjoyed it. It was amazing, and we definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I certainly got chills recounting it to myself. Keep on creeping on, your faithful listener, Kayla. Kayla, that was fucking
Thank you so
incredible.
much. Yeah, that was really good.
And I just want to give a shout out to 777 who just donated $6.90, and it says no pants alliance. Woot woot. I debated about sharing that deal, so about sharing that detail, so I'm glad I did, obviously. That's really good, man. And like being a kid and seeing something that looks like the Grim Reaper is creepy enough. Having your sleep paralysis end and it still be there is just like an extra notch. And the fact that it scratched your forehead is super creepy. Like, shout out to Amy Chibi, who just followed us on Twitch. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe it was like marking you, like to be like, no, this one's good, dog. Like maybe they're looking for stuff to collect. And he's like, if I draw something here, then I'll have my Reapers come and take this one. If I draw something this way, it'll be good to go. So I don't know.
I just am imagining a really bony tip just touching.
Sounds hot.
Ew. Anyway.
That is a really, really good story. It's
That is
really
a very
creepy
good story.
And if you have other ones, please share. I would love, and I mean absolutely love, if your sister were to tell us what she saw that night. I cannot help but feel like I need to know what happened in that other room. Even if it was just the same thing, I want to hear the description. So you should have her write it and send it up to us. And also have your sister listen to this episode when it comes out, which comes out this Friday. That was fantastic.
Trip 7 says, what if the apparition drew a dick on your forehead?
That's
like
funny.
the 21st century type of Reapers. Like,
I would do that if I was a
do
Reaper.
it.
So I posted this meme on the Scary Spooky Friends group on Facebook, and it was give a man a fish, teach him to eat, or Jesus Christ, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Give a man a pen, he'll probably draw a dick. And I put it up there, I was like, me. And when I woke up this morning, my friend had messaged me a picture of this whiteboard his wife had gotten where she keeps track of everything. And every time she puts date night, he underlines it, and the underline he's drawing is a dick.
Oh my god.
And he's like, she doesn't like this. How does she not see it's romantic? And I was like, how is she supposed to know that after date night it's dick o'clock?
Oh.
Like, these are important skills.
I had to teach my coworker about the Pen 15 thing.
How do you not know about Pen 15? By the way, if you don't know, Pen 15 is you spell pen in capitals and then 1-5 for Pen 15 because it looks like penis. So
yeah, growing up I was like, you never heard of the Pen 15 Club? Oh my god.
Yeah, one of the first guilds I made on World of Warcraft was called Pen 15, and 15 was spelled out. So shout out to Queen Caffeine who just subscribed.
Thank you so much
for the first month on Twitch, and they used
Welcome
Prime,
to being
which means that
a
they
subscriber.
didn't spend any money. They spent
Yes.
Amazon's money.
Go
Robin,
to twitch.amazon.com. Check it out. If you have a Twitch account and you have an Amazon Prime account, you connect the two. You get one free subscription.
you connect the two literally by just saying, like, this is my Amazon stuff, and Twitch is like, oh, cool, dog. Here's a bunch of free shit, including $5 a month.
They a lot of the time they do like Overwatch loot boxes, which is great.
You
do
get a
those
lot
all
of
the
free
time.
stuff in games you might be playing. So if you have Amazon Prime and you listen to us, go to Twitch, link those accounts, and that free $5 goes away every month. They give you a new $5 at the beginning of each month, but subscribe to our channel and give that to us. We'd super appreciate it.
So this one is from Carrie.
This last
email of the night is from Carrie, and it goes, "Hi Adam and Robin. Hello. Thank you for being on the stream today. Thank you so much for all your efforts with this podcast. You guys are so fun to listen to on my commute and also on Thursday afternoons while you're live streaming. Wednesday afternoons. Have we done it on Thursday before?
No.
Okay, Wednesday afternoons. Oh, maybe it's Thursday. Are you in a different country?
They might be.
Might be from a different country.
They might be in the future. I'm pretty sure our Australian viewers watch from Thursday.
Oh, cool.
Maybe the Philippines too.
Cool. While I sit at my desk at work. Oh, there it is. I am from Melbourne, Australia. That makes sense.
Boom. Figured it out.
Yep.
Pretty proud of us.
And which is why it's on Thursday afternoon. Okay. We figured it out. Just took us a little while. Please feel free to share on the podcast, as I think this story shows that our loved ones keep watching over us after passing. My father-in-law was ill for a very long time, and at the end, he had all his family with him, and he quietly passed away during the night while everyone slept. As he lived in the country, only my husband went to go be with him. The next day, my girls and I traveled to be with the rest of the family. As you can imagine, everyone was very sad, but it was great to all be together to grieve. That night, we all went to bed very teary and somber. The next morning, everyone seemed a little brighter. It turned out that each of us had been comforted during the night by my father-in-law. He came and held each person's hand or patted their back while they wept, after which they were all able to sleep restfully. I have chills.
That's amazing. We've had an email similar to that, too. We've heard stuff like this before.
Yeah.
That's why I love getting these
Yeah,
emails.
I love it. Of course, no one knew until my 8-year-old daughter asked my husband why he had come and sat on her bed and patted her back during the night. He replied that he hadn't, but had felt that Pops held his hand. That's when everyone shared their experiences. After the funeral, the whole family went back to my parents-in-law's home, As it was rare for everyone to be together at the same time, we took lots of photos. In every photo is a bright orb.
Wow.
These photos were taken by different cameras and from many different angles, yet an orb is in every one. That's crazy.
That's
crazy. Super crazy.
That is really good science right there. Like having multiple angles, having multiple cameras, and being able to confirm the same thing over and over. That makes me think. Like usually when I hear orbs, I'm like, it's dust. When I hear like multiple cameras, multiple angles, multiple lighting, like that's different. That's completely different.
I believe my father-in-law was with us and showing that he will never truly leave us. His orb has shown up in many photos of family occasions since. I've attached a gorgeous example. I believe in this photo he appeared to let us know that he was aware that he had a great-grandchild. Aww.
That's awesome.
Hope this brings some comfort to those who are missing past loved ones. Keep on creeping on, Carrie.
Thank you so much for
sending
that in.
That is such a good story. And it's nice when people have that closure.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that so many of you folks are so comfortable sharing that because, like, a lot of us have gone through that and not everyone gets that thing. But I think a lot of people have had some sort of experience that they doubt or are just too skeptical to allow to, like, entertain the thought that it could have been something like that. And the more you hear it, I think that wall comes down a little bit more because people that are very skeptical about a lot of things just don't want to like let anything in that is like unexplainable. When it comes to something like that, it's like it's very needed, you know what I mean? And for people who haven't experienced it, it's nice to know that when something like that does happen and your world is turned upside down, like it doesn't have to feel like the end, and it's a nice thing to feel. So thank you one more time for sending that in, and shout out to everyone who sent stuff in this week because we appreciated every single one of them.
So thank you guys for joining us for the live stream. If you'd like to support us, please go to patreon.com/scaryishpodcast, and those are monthly donations, and we have a whole bunch of different tiers. We have tiers. We have a badge of honor tier where I make buttons or zipper pulls, or I did magnets last season, and I mail them out once every season. Well, not once every season, but I mail them out every season. So spring, summer, fall, winter, and a whole bunch of different tiers. All of that helps us keep the podcast going. Then we have coffee, ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast. And those are one-time donations for helping us upgrade our studio setup. So if you've watched us from the beginning, you've seen our quality improve because it used to be rough.
It used to be a GoPro taped to a tripod, and now it's an actual camera mounted to a tripod.
Yes, it's actually attached. It's great. We do have Twitter, Facebook, everything social media-wise. If you go to scarish.com, we have all our social media linked there, and our shop is on there. Right now, I'm running a deal on my personal Etsy shop. So if you go to the website, scroll down, my Etsy shop's somewhere on the bottom, you click that. All my acrylic charms and stickers, including the Scarish stickers, are 20% off for the month of May. So if you go there, support us.
It's gonna be May, which you can
May.
only do at the end of April. But hey, it's May, and I'm pretty happy about it. Yeah, if you want to reach out to us, Robin already mentioned it, but there's a bunch of different ways to do it. To get your story read on Storytime or your homegrown horror, email storytime@scarish.com. That is our email address. You can also go to scarish.com and click on Contact Us. Fill out that form if you would like. That comes directly to us. Tweet at us at ScarishPod, Instagram at ScarishPodcast, Facebook.com/ScarishPodcast for our Facebook page, and you can message us there. Also, join the Spooky Friends group while you're there. It's super fun. And click on our Discord logo on our website and join us on Discord. It's a whole lot of fun. Really good conversation. I really like releasing episodes and then checking out the episode discussion tab because some folks are bringing up stuff where it's like, I didn't know this or did you know this? A lot of us went to Camp Tecumseh, which I realized after we released the episode because I talked about Camp Tecumseh, which is somewhere where I went on the most recent topic episode. So it's a really good time, and thank you to everyone who supports us. We appreciate every single one of you.
Yeah.
You make this worth doing. You really do, and I want you to know that. So Robin, take it from here.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.